What is up, everybody? How you doing today? We've got another Instagram live interview season 2. Welcome. What's going on? Everyone checking in this, later. What's going on? How you doing out there? We've got a rock band Ronin today from New York, and the lead singer is Chris Feldman. Maybe he's related to Corey Feldman. We'll find out. We'll find out here. What's going on, guys? How you doing? Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Hello, man. What's going on?
Hey, how are we doing today?
Pretty good.
Just to clear things up right off the bat, I am not related to Corey Feldman.
Okay. I
Apologize.
just wanted to throw that out there. Now, I read in your bio you like Metallica and Alice in Chains, so I figured I'd throw on the hoodie and the sunglasses.
Little Lane Staley. Gotcha. I like it. Yeah, they're
So,
awesome. Metallica, Alice in Chains, fantastic.
whereabouts in New York are you?
We're from Long Island, like centralized. I don't know if you're familiar with the expressway, but like exit 61-ish. So like right
Okay.
in dead center of Long Island.
I was gonna say I thought maybe you're from New Jersey too. But it's all cram packed in that area, right?
Yeah, tri-state area. It's pretty much from anyone outside the area, it's pretty much the same. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, let's start with how did you start to play guitar, and what kind of drew you to start writing your own songs?
Well, I mean, I've been pretty much writing stuff since like grade school, poetry, more or less.
Yeah.
Me and the drummer Moss were in a band in high school, but I only sang. I wasn't playing guitar yet until like my mid-20s, so a little late to the party. But we
Okay.
like to say, even though you're late to the party, doesn't mean you can't be the life of the party. But I mean, main inspiration, first rock band I liked was Creed. I really loved the guitar
Yes.
riffs, Mark Tremonti, Scott
One
Stapp,
of mine too. Love
very
Creed.
distinct voice. People rip on them, but they got some really good songs. And then I delved into Metallica, and just James Hetfield, just the way he plays the guitar, just made me want to play the guitar. Watching like the Black Album tour, just his whole stance, the way he holds the guitar. I'm like, I need to learn how to play guitar. And then by the time I was 25, I'm like,
Yeah.
get off your ass and learn the guitar. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much how that started. And then I looked at some old lyrics and stuff, some old poems, and I kind of transformed them into some songs based on guitar melodies and stuff we would come up with.
Nice. I can hear the James Hetfield-ness in your voice too.
Yeah, and the
And
more aggressive stuff.
yeah, I grew up with that, and partly I tried to mimic that, but I could tell I have a lower voice than you, but I could tell your voice is a little higher, and you have that it's almost like James's high country frequency, like
Yeah,
he could
yeah.
sing country music sort of. You have that
A
too
little
that
bit of
he does.
twangish,
Yes,
for
that's what I
sure.
hear.
That's probably based on my parents. They used to listen to a lot of country when I was growing up, like, Alan Jackson, George Strait, stuff like
Yep.
that. More of the classic country, very different than today's country.
So what about Alice in Chains? How does that fit in there? Is that more
Alice
of
in
a band
Chains,
thing or?
Alice in Chains was more, I came into them later, like in my late
Oh,
teens, early
okay.
20s. My cousin turned me on to them, and I just fell in love with the harmonies for sure. Just the way Lane and Cantrell just, their voices just meshed so well together. They have like, they're the kings of like weird, spooky harmonies. Like sometimes I feel like if other people tried it, it'd be like, it doesn't really work. But their voices just work so well together. And my introduction to them was their Unplugged show, and I was just like,
Okay.
I was
Okay.
blown away. And then especially you learn like the backstory where they basically had to like drag him onto the stage because he was in such dire straits from just like the drug abuse and stuff. And looking back, it's like, oh man, you really see it. So Alice in Chains kind of comes in just sort of like that grungy, gritty guitar sound. And, Jack, our lead guitarist, is like a harmony master, like very good vocalist. And he comes in and he's like, oh, let's do these harmonies here, here, and here. And it just works
Yeah.
out perfectly.
Yeah. I heard that too, and I think it's less vocal harmony for you guys, but more guitar harmony, and I like that. And Metallica does that too.
Yeah, for
But I
sure.
was gonna say the wah pedal. I can hear that wah from Metallica, which is
Yeah,
cool.
Jack loves the wad. You know, he just likes that sort of like old school type sound, and he's pretty good at it. So I was like, yeah, give it a go, and it just fit on a bunch of different songs.
Nice. Everybody tuning in right now. We got Chris here from the rock band Ronin. Hello, what's going on, Caroline, Sherry, a few other people here.
Gotta
She
wear
goes, the
shades.
future's so bright, gotta wear shades.
Yep, yep.
Well, I figured I told him I did this because he likes Alice in Chains, so I figured, I'll throw it on here for a second. Get my Alice going.
Yeah, looks good.
Thanks,
Looks good.
thanks, Brady31. What's going on? How you doing out there? So were you self-taught with guitar, or did you take some lessons, or?
At the very beginning, I asked my buddy Andrew Gabriel, is a very good guitarist, musician, and probably for like the first 4 or 5 months, I was taking like lessons from him, going there once a week. He was showing me different guitar scales, showing me the chords. And I remember the
Yep.
beginning was brutal, just learning how to hold the strings down. And especially learning on like an acoustic. I remember trying bar chords for the first time. I'm like, this
Yep.
sucks.
This
I'm like,
this hurts,
I'm
man.
like, this is horrible. Like people do this, but I stuck with it and just looking up like YouTube videos, or I'd look up tabs of different songs that I really liked, and then eventually started writing my own stuff. And I joined a band with actually the guitarist Jack. He had like a sort of like, how do you even describe this band? It was like progressive folk rock. He played a ukulele. Sometimes we
Okay.
had two bass players, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to play guitar?" I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to learn." So he's like, "Oh, here's 20 songs. Like, if you want to come next week and jam." I was like, "Oh no, I got to learn 20 songs." Luckily, they were like pretty easy songs, and I could fake my way through half of them. So I played with them
Nice.
for like a year and a half, and then 3 years ago we decided to start this up.
Do
So
you
basically self-taught, and Jack self-taught guitar, self-taught ukulele, and but it's like every instrument that guy touches, he plays piano, he can play saxophone, clarinet. He's
yeah.
very naturally gifted.
Did you guys play out before COVID, or did you form during?
We, I mean, it really sucks. We started pretty much gigging early 2019. Like our first
Yep.
gig as a band was May 2019. We brought Jack into the fold around February of that year. We played probably about 11 or 12 shows that year. And then 2020 came, and we had shows pretty much booked from the end of
Screwed
February.
everything up.
Yep. End of February, the beginning of May, we had like 13 gigs, and we're like, oh, we're starting to roll here. We were thinking about recording an album. We started recording February, and then that got put on pause. All the gigs got canceled. But luckily, we were able to go back into the studio. I think it was like early mid-May, just one at a time. So like I went in, did vocals on whatever songs we had.
Okay.
So luckily, before everything shut down, we got all like the full band sessions in for
Yep.
all 8 songs.
Yep.
So we got the drum tracks laid down, and that's the most important because you build off
What
of that.
studio?
We recorded at a studio called Voodoo Studios in Port Jeff with
Okay.
a guy Frank Matiratona and Mike Watts, and they really helped because this is our first experience in the studio, and we're kind of a little bit lost at times. Like, oh,
Yeah.
what is this
Yeah.
supposed to sound like? He's like, oh well, he's like, this part maybe the whole band should link up in more like a syncopated rhythm rather than playing different things. I'm like, all right, let's try it, and we try it, and like, man, it sounds pretty good.
You know what's funny is because when I was going through listening to some of the songs, it sounds more like the old school way of you guys actually playing together in a room.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
Because
that was just more of the mixing of it and how your songs are and structure and stuff.
yeah, Frank, our engineer, he really did a great job getting us like locked in together. We played to the click all at the same time. Did scratch vocals, and then once we got the drums down, it was like we just layered in, we sat in,
Yeah.
and it
Yep.
was a nice way to record. It went faster than we were thinking. We're like, we might go in there and completely, blow this whole thing off. Like, who knows what's gonna
Yeah.
happen? But luckily, it went the other way.
Yeah, it's funny how drums are most important. A lot of people don't realize that. Your drum quality of your recording sets the quality of the whole song, to be honest.
100% agree. And that's basically how we kind of landed on the studio. We visited a few, and then I think it was December of 2019. We went to this place. I saw a couple of other bands that we knew and musicians had used it, and it was the drum
Yep.
room that sold us. The drum room is like the walls are not even, like they're not evenly
Yeah.
spaced apart. Very
Yeah.
high ceiling, and got like a really nice like Bonham sort of boom when he was hit the drums. And I just looked at him, and
Yeah.
he's like, "This is the place." So I was like, "All right, I'm sold." Because I mean, guitars, it's like, all
Nice.
right, you know, you can kind of play them pretty
Yeah,
much.
guitars you can either do them dry or in a big room,
You know, it's like,
or both.
but it's like the drums, you got to have a good room.
Always, always. Yep. Maybe in like certain types of music you can do completely dry drums and it works,
For sure, but I think like I guess the sound we were going for, like you needed that
Yeah,
sort of
not for a rock band.
thunderous. Yeah, you need that sort of
Yeah.
thunderous, especially with
So
the
everybody,
toms.
what's going on? Sherry, Stephanie, Bellaboo. So basically, what would you describe yourself as hard rock or more metal?
We're really somewhere in between rock and metal. So like I guess hard rock
Yeah.
would fit, but it's like I don't know, we're not like big into genre. Like we're definitely rock music. Like there's no doubt
Yeah.
about that.
Oh yeah.
We're not playing
Yeah.
jazz. But it's like sometimes like we have one song Temptress that's a little more pop punk, and then we have a song Down
Yep.
that like halfway through almost goes into like an Allman Brothers sort of thing with like Queen style layered vocals. And then we have songs
Okay.
like Greetings, which are kind of very much hard rock, or Spider and the Fly, which is more grungy. And like we kind of, we float between, and we try different sounds and try to do things differently, not the same thing on
Yeah.
every song.
And you guys, so the album's out, so everybody can go to Spotify and all those good places and listen to it. And
Yeah, everywhere pretty much. And
I
we,
heard was the third song. It's funny you mentioned the punk rock thing because I definitely heard that. I'm like, it was either the second, third, or fourth song. I think it was the third or fourth one. And I could definitely hear that. And then like the first two are definitely like Metallica for me, that kind of style.
yeah, we were like,
Yeah.
we went on a limb with the album opener. It's, it's just over 7 minutes, starts off with sort of like an orchestral sort
Good
of
song.
build. It's like, we're like, you know what, let's just start the album with this. Gives people a little bit of a breather and then sort of hammer it home. Uh,
Yep.
Album order is something like, I feel like is like a lost, I don't want to use the word art, but it's like it gets lost in translation a lot. Like, oh, just throw the songs on there. Who cares what order? But like, we like the idea of the album. I know everything's just singles, short EPs. But I'm like,
Hmm.
let's just at least put out one album. Let's put out one proper album, full
Yeah.
length.
I'm gonna go from there.
Yeah, and then
Yeah. And
if we want to
order
do
is
singles,
important. It is
yeah,
important.
I like it. I like listening through old albums and being like, oh, it's like there's two or three like really hard songs, and then like the ballad comes in, and then
Yeah.
something a little lighter, and then you can go back, or you end on a banger. It's,
Yeah.
at least in our estimation.
And you guys, you have that same energy in your live stuff too, because I was like, I need somebody to interview for today. And I'm like, I would love somebody within my own genre, my own taste that I like. And then I was like, okay, the recordings are pretty good. I like the style. I'm digging the Metallica and then all the other stuff I heard. And I was like, okay. It's always about the live video too. So I found one of them live and I go, okay, they're very similar live. So that is a good thing.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. We don't have a lot of live videos out there. We have a couple.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I
would
can
love to
tell
have
with a
more.
cell phone video, yeah, what a band sounds like. You know what I
Right,
mean? Some people can't, but
right. You at least get an idea of the energy.
yeah, it's
For
either
sure.
there or kind of not there. You know what I mean? Or they're doing it just for like a show where it's like they're trying to be like Breaking Benjamin or something. I don't know. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right. Well, I mean, we kind of like transform into like different people. Like
Yeah,
once we get on stage, and I miss it, man. I miss playing live. We only got out
yeah,
once during quarantine. It was a hot, sweaty gig in Holbrook on the island of this
yeah.
place, but we played for an hour, and man, we had a good time.
Did you do any live streams with the shows or like
We
tapings?
we did
That sort of thing?
I think that one we did like a Facebook live stream of the whole
Okay.
show. I can't remember specifically, but I'm almost positive we did a Facebook live stream of that show. and that was a fun one.
Cool.
Like we got a full
Yeah.
hour. We got to play all of our songs, and we got to play a few covers that we like, which was great. For Whom the Bell Tolls is a favorite
Yeah.
cover. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the more simple Metallica songs to cover, but it's a banger
Yeah. But it's got his parts though.
for
It's
sure.
it's got that the beat is sometimes not the easiest thing to follow, but in a way.
Yeah, you got to get the tempo right. You don't want to play it too fast.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's the cutting and stuff. I think it's just Lars. If you drum like Lars, it's a little
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly, exactly.
Is he really good or is he just kind of
His own thing.
brilliant?
Yeah, he is. Lars is Lars. He'll never be another,
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree that. Well, when you start to play out again and stuff, because I'm near Albany, New York, so maybe you guys come
All
up
right.
near my way and play some
So
shows or something.
I would love to. We would,
Be
we're
cool.
always down to travel and get out there and maybe try to do a couple of weekenders in the tri-state
Yeah,
area. Would be perfect.
yeah. I haven't been where you guys are, to be honest. I've been anywhere near the city. I've been to Poughkeepsie and then like all the other states surrounding and stuff, but I've never. I try to stay away from the cities, to be
Right.
honest.
Yeah. The city can be rough. It's like there's a couple of like really cool rock spots. Hopefully they are still going to be open. Hopefully they reopen because we had a couple of
Yeah.
closures on the island. I don't know if you're familiar with Revolution Music Hall in Amityville and then Blackthorn 51 in Queens. They both
Yeah.
unfortunately closed their doors. Both venues
Okay.
that one of them we played at, we were going to play at another one. And, the scene was starting to, I feel like with rock music was starting to build up pretty good. And then I
Yeah.
just hope it comes back and hopefully more people go to live shows for, local acts and support them,
That'll be.
especially after all this time
Yeah.
without it. Maybe hopefully they appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah, because I think not that this is a bad thing, but I think people take anything right now. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
for
if it's
sure.
if
For
it's
sure, man.
unsigned bands, bar bands, acoustic guys, doesn't necessarily have to be the big guys, you know? I think
Yeah,
I
it's
think
nice.
they
It's
will, depending.
yeah, it depends on, what kind of entertainment they're looking for. Not
Yeah.
everybody's, I guess, into rock music, but hopefully the people that are like, you know what, there's a show at such and such place. I'm just gonna go check it out.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
they might now because they haven't
Yeah.
seen anything and there's not the possibilities aren't there. You can't just see anything they want, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And the bigger shows are few and far between. Like there's only a couple of like tours that were announced
They
for
don't
this
even
summer.
exist. So
You know.
I interviewed Tantric drummer last week, and he's touring. He's going more towards the Midwest because that's really the only place that has been open like the whole time.
Yeah, more outdoor venues, more widespread.
Nashville, that sort of thing too.
Yeah, more lax restrictions and stuff like that because more outdoor spaces. I
Yep.
mean, if we could have got out there, that would have been awesome, but it's kind of hard to establish yourself.
So, you've been around for a year and a half, or something like that, and then you have. So I discovered you through your management. So how did the management come into play rather than all right, we're just gonna do it by ourselves or whatever, you know?
Yeah, we tried that since January when we dropped the album, and we shopped around at a few places. Tried to do like some pay for services. It's like, oh, we'll put a post out on such and such, and like we got some pretty
Yeah.
decent numbers. We were getting some middling things on Spotify, but it's like, what do you do with those numbers once you have them? Like, especially when
Yeah.
you're not playing live. Like, we got some physical CDs of the album. I'm like, well, now we need shows to go sell them. It's like, well,
Yeah.
not everybody's going to buy an unsigned band. Like, oh, look, a Facebook ad for an album that I'm going to buy. Then they have to ship it to me. Not everybody's like ready to spend $13, $14 on a CD of a band they have no idea. So I can't blame
Yeah.
them for that. But the shows are where we'd be like, you win somebody over. They're like, yeah, give me an album. I would love an album.
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah.
we shopped around and we contacted a few places, and Pavement Music was kind enough to offer us something like, yeah, we'll push a song for you, and we'll reach out to some people, get you some interviews, and hopefully we could have a even bigger relationship with them moving forward, and we could put out like an album or something like that with them. Would be amazing.
Yeah. Next single, and then when you guys can play out and
Yeah, that's the goal. The goal is to hopefully sign with something, get some sort of distribution deal, just to kind of waylay the cost of it doing it ourselves and have access to
yeah.
more in the music genre, the music arena of us to go out and play a show and maybe get on a festival or book a
Yeah.
string of shows and do like a mini tour would be,
Yeah.
that would be perfect for us.
That's really what it's about. I mean, what I notice is like the long stream tours of like a month or 2 months. They're for the bigger headliner bands, or you have to buy on to a bunch of stuff, and it's not worth buying on. And but you're
For
right. The
sure.
ones that take them are like 2-3 day ones, and you come back, which is nice. Really, you go give it your all, and you come back and you rest for however long, and then you do it again.
Yeah, 3 shows a week. I mean, after everything that's happened over the last year and a half, I'll take that every week. 3 shows a week. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, I'm living large at that
Especially, I
point.
don't like people don't realize like because obviously when you're doing that stuff, like we're opening for bands, right? And it's like
Yeah, majority
our
of the time.
our sets sometimes are 20 minutes,
Like a hard
and it's
20 minutes.
that's like nothing. You know what I mean? That's like four
Yeah.
songs,
But
5.
yeah, especially if you play like a little bit longer of songs. Like most of our songs are over 4.5 minutes. And it's like, all right, we played 4 songs. It's like, can you
Yeah,
really, you hope you made an impression with those 4 songs, like, and you
yeah,
showed your range to the audience. It's like, it's tough. It's tough to get all your
yeah.
stuff in 20 minutes.
Everybody tuning in right now, if you got any questions here for Chris, Mr. Chris Redfield going on here. You know who that's from, right? Chris
Is,
Redfield,
is that Resident Evil?
Resident Evil.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the actual
Um,
name of the head of the CDC. It's like
yeah.
Redfield. So I always laugh when I see him at like the congressional hearings and it says Redfield and he's ahead of the
Chris
disease.
Redfield.
He's going to do something terrible.
Yeah. What's up, Steph? What's up, Sherry? Thanks, guys, very much for tuning in. Everybody tuning in later, tag Ronin or tag me or both of us, and we'll get to your questions and stuff too, because this is all for the replay factor too
What's
here.
up, Ryan? How we doing?
What's going on? I lost my train of thought here. Oh, when you like I'm big into production stuff. You talking about making the album and stuff like that. Did you want to record like we're not talking about just the guitars, but like the amps and the sounds? Did you want it more real, or did you want more like, yeah, I don't mind if we use some amp sims, or it's like, no, we're in the studio, we're gonna do everything for real. It's gonna have that sound. You know what I mean? Analog versus kind of digital.
Yeah, we did pretty much all analog, like maybe one or two like guitar effects were through the
Yeah,
computer, but like because when we released like a little bit of a demo that we recorded at my old house,
yeah,
I got the Pro Tools, I got like a bias amp 2, generator where, it had like simulated amp sounds and we know how
and
that sounds. And it's like, all right, it sounded okay, but we're in the
yeah,
studio, I went out, I got a Mesa dual rectifier and I'm like, I'm going to use this thing. And then my buddy Jack, he used a couple. They had some really cool in-house amps. I forget the name
yeah,
of the amp that my buddy Jack used, but it was like a custom amp from somewhere in Europe that they got from a guy who like made it himself, and it just had such a
yeah.
weird, unique sound. And I'm like, you have
Cranked
to use
out.
it. I'm like, you have to use it. And if anyone ever asks you about it one day, you have to tell them. Yeah, so we really wanted like the real sound, and our bassist Andrew Vitale, he used a real bass amp, and they were mic'd up in the vocal booth, with 2 amps, 2 microphones, so you
Yep,
get that nice rounded full sound. And it was a
yep.
really cool experience to like see it in real time, like an actual proper studio, not my basement, trying
Yeah.
trying to somehow shield the sound. You're hearing the pick guard and like
Grab
it's
the comforters over there.
yeah, like get as many pillows as possible and form a human line.
Yeah. Sometimes that stuff really works good though. Some of it.
Yeah, it's what if we could have made it work and get the sound that we wanted at home. It's like maybe we would have done that, but there's something to be said about putting the time in the studio, and like I don't
Yeah.
know if it brings you maybe you're just more focused. You're paying for time, and it's like we got to make the most of this time. You got to be on your A game. Yeah,
You're not as relaxed at home where, yeah, I can just do it and I can do it later. I can do it later again. You know what I
Yeah, it's
mean?
like, yeah, oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to come over today. It's like, no, we booked studio time. We got to get in there. Tell all
Yeah,
the
you
significant
gotta do
others
it.
you're gonna have to wait a little bit. We'll go to
You
dinner
gotta
tomorrow
do it,
night.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear you. So what's next for you guys, you think? I know the COVID stuff messed up anything, but do you think you're gonna have like gonna go with a single maybe after the album or something? Or
Yeah, we have like a maybe a dozen or so songs that we've been working on since we went in the studio last time. And I think we're probably doing more of a single approach, maybe release three, and
yeah,
then hopefully have enough recorded that then we put out the full album type thing. Probably use the same studio, the same guys, whether it's released on our own or through another service. Which is the most desirable option for us would be through Pavement, which would be awesome. But we'll
yeah.
see what happens. We'll see what happens with the song they're pushing now. Hopefully, it satisfies them and we could jump on board with them and you know take off. That's the
Go from
goal.
there.
Yeah,
All you can hope for. You never know. You just
yeah.
never
That's
know.
what I've been telling people. It's like you don't know till you try. And like we think
Yep.
we've got a pretty good product that people will like, and we enjoy it. We enjoy playing it. We enjoy listening to it, and we play what we feel, and it's what we love doing. So I just
You
want to
do
keep
you
doing it.
do what you want, right?
Yes, always got to do
Pretty
what you
much.
want, and that was like a lesson that we definitely took from, say what you want about the changes Metallica made through their career, but it's like, they pretty much did whatever they wanted for better or for worse. They did that.
Yeah, it kind of made them legendary, though. They probably
Yeah,
would have not as been. I mean, I love Anthrax and I love those other bands that are similar to them, but what Metallica did made them basically what they are today.
yeah, they expanded the genre, and the umbrella got wider, and then more bands started
Yes.
forming.
They made hard rock. They made modern rock
For
with
sure.
load and reload. That is the definition of modern rock, kind of what it is today.
Yeah, those
It's
albums specifically were like my gateway into the band. I think,
Yeah, because they're not metal.
right. They're like hard rock. Some of the songs are blues rock. They have like that sort of groove to them. And,
Yeah,
if it was any other band, people would be like, wow, those are some really great albums. But since it was them, it's like, oh, not so great.
yeah.
It's like,
I remember my friend coming over. He goes, "Can you play Ronnie?"
that's
It's like,
our bassist Vitality. That's a favorite of his. I think he's been asking us to, at least me
oh,
specifically. He's like, we got to play Ronnie. We got to play Ronnie. I'm like, I don't know.
nobody would know what it is. They'd be like, "Is that one of your songs?" That's cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe it would work out in our favor.
Yeah, throw it in between two originals and don't say anything.
Yeah, just bang right into it. Just tell
Right
him the
into
title.
it.
That was called Ronnie, and here's another one.
I'd be like, "This sounds familiar." Be cool.
Yeah,
So
for
one
sure.
thing before we go here that I have this in my bio as well is the rock is dead question mark.
Yeah,
And it's not only you, it's not only me. Your management, they manage Mariah with the band Plush. They mentioned that. Um, Somebody else in rock that's kind of new coming up mentioned that. So we're not the only
for
ones.
sure.
But what do you what's your take on that?
I just, I hear it all the time, and you know, my cousin. Hopefully, he's watching. You dirtbag. He always says it. Rock is beyond that. It's beyond. I'm like, I mean, maybe in the mainstream, maybe you don't see it every day, but doesn't mean it's
In
dead.
America.
Right? Doesn't mean it's dead. Not at all. There's a reason why bands like Alter Bridge and Shinedown play pretty much club scene in America, but when they go overseas, they're playing like 100,000 people festivals and like
Oh yeah.
headlining them.
Yeah.
Selling out the O2. You know,
Yeah.
they're huge over there overseas, huge overseas. I just think, the culture's a little different over here. They like the shorter songs. They have, shorter attention span for better or for worse. People like different things. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people would agree that rock is not dead. There's
Yeah,
plenty that say
it's
it,
what
but
they've turned it into.
yeah. And I think, the
Yeah.
genre can shift and make new subgenres, but that was kind of our goal behind our album too, is like, we have more of a quote unquote classic, maybe sort of like a '90s rock sound. There are,
Yeah.
a lot of the rock bands today, maybe they're using, we don't have a lot of screaming in our songs. There's a lot of screaming, a lot
Yeah.
of double bass drum, which I can get into. Our bassist loves like the heavier stuff. And I love some of that stuff too, but it's like, there isn't a lot of that sort of old school feel in like today's
Yeah.
rock music. And maybe that's what people
Yeah.
mean when they say rock is dead, because it's different from what they know as rock. But even like the early 2000s, that sort of pop punk emo scene seems to be almost creeping back in. And like you see
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
artists diving into that. Maybe artists that
Yep.
weren't necessarily rock are starting to do those types of songs. And is it a good
Mhm.
thing or a bad thing? I think that remains to be seen. We're not really sure.
Put it this way, there's something to be said with rock that when you go to a rap concert, I remember my guitarist went to a Lil Wayne concert and he goes, dude, like it was really good. He goes, and they like came out with an electric guitar for some songs. He goes, and like I wasn't there, but certain parts they hit and stuff. He goes, it was like rock. He goes, but
Yeah.
he's a rapper. He's there rapping. But they even in country and stuff now, it's rock is actually not dead because it's everywhere. It's actually in all the genres.
Yeah, it's bleeding in. It's not, it's not just by itself anymore. It's sort of
Yeah.
seeped out. Like you said, country. A good buddy of ours showed me the guy Eric Church, who's got some more
Yeah.
rocks. He's got some more rock sort of distorted guitar.
Brandon Gilbert.
Yeah, even guys like what was the name of that band? The Florida Georgia Line. Is that the band? I saw them. They performed
Yeah.
live one time, and some of the parts were a little heavy. Zach Brown band, they do like some metal covers on their encores, and like, but something different about live. Even like you said, like a
Yeah.
rapper, when they play live, a lot of times those artists play with live bands, and something is just different when it's live versus like a trap beat made on a computer, and it's like it doesn't have that
Yeah.
doesn't have the human element. But when they
Yeah.
play live, they bring a band with them, and it's like if you could just make the connection, do that in
See,
the
I think they all
studio.
should do that in the
Oh,
studio. It would make it
do
so
it in the
much more
studio.
real.
Get a real drummer, because
That's how they used to do it.
yeah, it could be the same song, but like I feel like I would like it then if it had like real instruments in it. Like I don't know.
I think it's just that they used real drums. That's the key right there.
I agree, and we said that earlier. We talked about how drums are really the key to a lot of songs being
Yeah.
either good
If
or
you
bad.
listen to Michael Jackson, and I mean, some of it is sampled, but some of it is not. Like, there's tutorial videos, and his drummer that drummed on, like, Beat It and whatever else, he does these YouTube videos, and it's like when you watch that, he's playing it like a drum machine because he's that good. You know what I
Right,
mean?
you're like, oh, he's not really playing. No, that's where they got the drum machine from. It's like that guy.
Yeah,
They
it's
they
that
based it
guy.
on his
That
playing.
dude. Well, I appreciate you hanging out here. Chris is in the band Ronin. Okay, check them out. Follow them here on Instagram. All their stuff's on Spotify. Is it on Amazon, iTunes, everywhere
Yeah,
else too?
pretty much everywhere. If you go to ronin-band.com, we have a listen now page, and it's got all of them listed. Pretty much anywhere you can get music on streaming, we're available. And then we have physical CDs. I'll throw that out there. If anyone wants it, you just throw us a message, either on Facebook, Instagram, or on a website. You can purchase them directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man. Well, hopefully things will open up a little bit and we'll start to sell some more albums and just I kind of feel like I don't know, you can't figure out your future right now. It's like
You're in a holding
you
pattern.
want to do it, but it's
Yeah.
where's everything?
Yeah, the plane's just in the sky. It's just circling. You want to land,
Yeah.
but they haven't.
We're just stuck there.
Yeah.
Just stuck somewhere.
They just haven't.
We're
been
in
given
orbit.
clearance.
Never
Yeah,
until something
where's
comes
that
like
guy
an
in the
asteroid
vest?
comes.
We're looking for the guy in the vest to call us in. We're just waiting for
Yeah.
that guy. So if you're that guy in the vest, call us in, please. We'd love to
Yeah.
see you.
Well, just quick here. Thanks, Trey and Sherry, very much. Let me see what Stephanie, Creep Girl. If you got a question for Chris, throw it in right now. I think I'll get it here.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Frank, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, man. I started this last year during COVID because I was like, I'm really bored, and I
Got to do
go,
something.
I want to interview people and rock too. I mean, I haven't all interviewed rock. I've interviewed R&B and a lot of different styles too. But it's it's opening people up and exposure to different things. They like I would have probably never listened to any of you guys that I've had on here because I didn't specifically go and search for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of, for lack of a better word, there's a lot of noise out there.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like very, like almost seemingly impossible to cut through the noise. You have to,
yes, yep,
you got to either go viral, which is like, what are the odds of that? And like
yeah.
TikTok, forget about it. I am terrible with TikTok. We made one, but like haven't used it. Like TikTok is completely foreign to me.
Yeah,
It's a different
yeah.
world, the absolutely different world out there.
Who knows? Half of them are. They're all like that.
Very true.
Natalie, she's from the UK. I interviewed her 2 or 3 weeks ago. She likes some of that classic rock stuff too. What's up, Natalie?
What's going on, Natalie? Thanks for stopping by.
She did a cover of there's a clip of her singing Rebel Yell, Billy Idol.
Okay, we'll
Like
have
that
to
stuff.
check you out on Instagram.
She's good. She's got like a low voice, but it's cool. It's got like a 70s rock vibe and stuff.
Yeah, not a lot of
Pretty
that
good.
around. It's nice to have
No,
something different.
not for female singers. Even male, I guess now. But everybody tuning in, thanks very much. As I say, don't stream it, but download it. Really, download the stuff. Don't stream it or buy the CDs, that kind of thing, because I don't know. Streams are just a number. They only help so much. But if you want to see more music from that band, it's the downloads that are going to fund the next record. Okay, remember
Very
that,
true.
folks.
Very true.
So I appreciate it, man. We'll keep in touch here, and this will be on my YouTube and Facebook as soon as I save it and throw it over there, and I'll send you the links. And if you want to share it stuff after, that's cool.
100%, man. Thank you again for having me on. Really appreciate it. Love talking
No
about
problem.
music.
Let's thank Barbara too right now because she's got me 2 artists so far.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. We've got a few more interviews lined up thanks to her, so most appreciated.
All right, man. I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Yes, have a good one.
See you later.